Hey, welcome back. The last time we got together, we talked a little bit about food chains and carrying capacity. And right before we left, I gave you kind of a little problem to go over. So let's start with that. So I said, let's take New York City as an example. And we said it's got 800 square kilometers and 8 million people. Now, if the Earth land surface area is about 150 billion square kilometers, how many people could you fit on the entire land surface area if you did it at a density in New York? So I hope you figure this out. It's about 15 trillion people. 15 trillion people. That's kind of a weird answer. And it's important because similar arguments have been used to say that we don't have a population problem on planet Earth. And I'll give you the most common one. People have used Holland as an example, the Netherlands. And they say, look, in the Netherlands, there's a high population density. And, they're doing all right, so we could really pack a lot of people. So, if we look at our answer from a different perspective, I mean, could you really pack the density of New York City on the Earth? Could you really do that? What is the problem? What is the problem? Well, let's think about it a little bit. It's the same problem with Holland. Now, does New York City generate all its own food? No. It gets food from other ecosystems. Does New York City dispose of its own waste and assimilate it? No, it doesn't do that either. It can be shipped out to New Jersey or dumped out in the ocean or something like that. So the land surface area and even water surface area that New York City utilizes is bigger than just the area it sits on. And the same deal is connected with Holland. A study was done that showed that the inhabitants of Holland utilize a land area that's 9 times bigger than Holland itself. They get materials from all over the world. Their wastes go all over the world. So we're going to think about that concept a little bit, and also some of the problems of connecting the idea of carrying capacity to humans. All right, it might be hard to come up with a carrying capacity for humans, and there's several reasons for that. So let me kind of go over those quick. Now, one is we have technology, so we can really change our environment around us. Another thing is, related to technology is we can really change ecosystem flows. We can modify the environment, like through the use of agriculture. We also use more than we need, so we're a little different than other organisms. We want more than the required 1,600 kilocalories of energy. Another thing is we use land and resources very far away. Holland was a great example of that. New York City as well. We get things from far away. Now, how do you get around this? Can you apply the idea of carrying capacity to humans? Now, some scientists, notably Mathis Wackernagel, think they've come up with a way. And that has to do with the concept of ecological footprint. And you can kind of imagine New York City up on top of this foot. Its footprint, the environmental impacts it has, stretches more than the land surface area that it's on. Now, how can we define ecological footprint? We can use something like this. Ecological footprint measures the amount of nature's resource an individual, a community, or a country consumes in a given year. Now, we measure it in a different way. We look at global acres or global hectares, and it's related to a unit that corresponds to 1 acre of biologically productive space. It's the world average productivity, so how much goods and services and ecosystem goods and services it produces, and also how much waste it can assimilate. Now, you get some pretty interesting results when you use this concept. You can, and I'd like you to, visit especially the first website that's listed there. It's myfootprint.org. Now, I'm going to show you what happens when you get there. So we'll go back to the PowerPoint, and we'll bring up myfootprint.org, and it looks like this. And what it has is a survey. So I'm going to take the survey for you, and we'll see what happens. This is measuring my ecological footprint. So I live in the U.S., and I speak English most of the time. So we'll put in how old I am, the range in here. I won't tell you exactly. And it says, how big is the town you live in? We're in Syracuse here. We're about here. And our weather is most similar to Chicago. And I am a male. And I'm not going to put the rest. And we'll go to the next page. And then it asks you some questions like this. How often do you eat meat and eggs and things like that? And very often, where do you get your food? About 1/4 of my food is grown locally, unfortunately. How much waste do I generate? I'd say much less. 5 people live in my household. Size of my house, just got a new house, fit in here. It's good size. What describes your home? It's freestanding. I do have water. I do have electricity. But I do have energy conservation. All right? On average, I don't take the bus much. I don't motorbike much. And how far do I go with each week? About 200 miles, just move the country. Don't really bike much. Fly about 10 hours a year. And go a little further. Mileage, I got a Prius, so it's very high. And occasionally somebody goes with me. Now this says that if everyone lived like me, I would need 3.2 planets. And it gives my total acre footprint, 14. So, you know, I'm generally decent. You know, most Americans are even worse than that. So think about these concepts, how they relate to energy, and also your connection with the environment. How do you impact the environment? So we'll stop there, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.